Okay, my beautiful friends, welcome to another incredible video. I want to talk to you today about the law of attraction, okay? And pretty much what this means is that we are all capable of creating anything we possibly want out of our lives. Like, I mean, anything. And what the law of attraction is all about is really similar to, if you've heard of the Hermetic Principles from the book The Kabbalion or the ancient practice of Hermeticism, they're saying the same thing or very similar things, right? At least the first principle of mentalism. Also, manifestation is kind of similar. The whole idea of believe it to achieve it, all of these kind of things. And so I'm here today to kind of explain the science behind it and explain how to use it and what it can actually do for you. And what this means is literally that your thoughts and really more your beliefs create your reality. And so, what is happening scientifically, if that seems a little far fetched for everybody, is that everything is made up of atoms, right? Out of vibrating atoms. This is probably something that you've learned in science class when you were younger. The whole universe is made up of these tiny, tiny little atoms that are all vibrating at different rates. And that is like if you hear anybody talking about like be high vibe or high vibrational or high frequency, this is literally scientifically what they're talking about. Is like how fast are your atoms vibrating at. And so what is happening is that there are different spectrums of emotions and beliefs, okay? And first off, a disclaimer is that like every emotion is meant to be. We are meant to have every single emotion. And when we try to push away the more quote unquote low vibrational emotions of like shame, guilt, unworthiness, these things, what we're actually doing is we're not allowing them to be and therefore move through us, okay? And so by actually sitting with and allowing the more lower vibrational frequency emotions, we let them move. We let them do what they're supposed to do. They have a purpose. Okay, we'll talk about that a little more in a second. But so there's a spectrum, right? And so there's the more high vibrational frequencies of trust, love, faith, belief, fun, play, joy, okay? And there's the more lower vibrational ones of like doubt, fear, hate, competition, jealousy. And again, we are meant to have those emotions, okay? So we'll talk about how to work with those in a moment. But what is happening then is that when we are focusing on a lower vibrational state of emotions, we are causing our atoms to vibrate at a lower frequency, at a lower rate. And what I mean by focusing on the lower frequency emotions is this, is that sometimes life happens to us and, there's things that are out of our control, like we lose a loved one and we're stricken with grief, and grief isn't an emotion that really like goes away forever. It comes and goes, right? Or we're stricken with jealousy or rage, okay? And those are not things that we should just try to pretend like aren't there or shove away and focus on being high vibrational, high vibrational. That is not it, okay? Like what we actually have to do is all the emotions, the whole spectrum is divine. And so we actually want to breathe into it and allow it and give it space. Give it a space to be, surrender to it, let it move us. Let it move inside of us. Focus on where we feel emotions, whether or not we can label what emotion it is. Focus on the body, lay down, focus on it, and just allow it. Give it space without judgment, without shaming ourselves. If we notice, actually, judgment and shame and guilt, those emotions usually are, there's some part of us that was wounded at some point in life. And then trying to protect that wounded part, another part grew in us that is almost like a voice that's trying to, again, protect the wounded part. So it's like shaming us or like making us like, it's like telling us inside, like, go farther, move more, do more. Oh, how could you have done that? Or how could you do this, right? So that voice of shame and guilt and judgment inside of us when we're judging and being harsh on ourselves is actually just a protector. It's actually just a scared, sad version of us that loves us so much. It's trying to protect that wounded part, okay? And so again, none of these emotions are bad. We can allow them all and give them space and love them. But what relates back to the law of attraction is the idea that our beliefs create our reality. It is literally that. And so if we have the belief that the world is against us and bad things keep happening to us, then we are literally creating that reality with our beliefs, with our thoughts. Because again, back to the science of things, what is happening is my beliefs are creating my atoms to vibrate at a lower frequency. So there's kind of two things that happen here. One is that our atoms then condense. If we're not vibrating really fast and quickly, which that like expands things because it's like their atoms are pushing into each other and they're like creating more and more space the faster they go, right? If we're just vibrating slower, then it gets like closer and closer together. So everything gets really dense. We feel really dense. Our aura, our auric field, our energy field literally condenses and compresses into us, okay? And our energy field and our auric field are actually what creates our reality. Okay, so our beliefs create our energy field and our auric field. And then that energy that lives around us is coming into contact with everything that we experience. It is literally, we're constantly carrying it. And so the outside reality is being affected by our energy field, depending on how wide it is, how fast it vibrates, okay? And what I mean by this is that everything affects each other, okay? So all the vibrating atoms, there's also vibrating atoms in the ether, in just the air around us, okay? And so they want to balance out. So obviously everything can't all be in balance at once, but because we're constantly shifting and fluctuating. But if I am vibrating at a lower frequency, then everything I come into contact with, I affect it and I lower its frequency, okay? In the opposite is true. If I'm vibrating at a higher frequency, everything I come into contact with is going to vibrate at a higher frequency. And so if I am focusing and creating my own beliefs of joy and love and acceptance and peace and harmony, all of these higher vibrational things, then I am literally, my atoms are vibrating faster. So then my auric field and energy field is expanding, okay? And then everything I come into contact with, I am raising its vibrational frequency. And you can notice this when somebody walks into a room and they're really excited and happy. Like you literally start to feel it after a while. It's contagious. Versus if somebody comes into a room and they're a little more dense and they're having a bad day. And again, this isn't a problem. We're here to support each other and help each other, but you can feel that too, okay? And so when I am focusing more on the high vibrational things, and I will explain focusing on in a moment, because again, there's a layer to this that I haven't gotten to yet. So please bear with me. It's not that like we should force ourselves to be happy. I will explain how to do that, how to be in the high vibrational space in a moment. But when I'm in a high vibrational space, my auric field, my energy field is expanding, okay? So then I actually have a better chance of affecting the things around me to then also become high vibrational because it's large. And so when I'm dense and I'm lower vibrational, it's like my auric field comes really close, and then it's almost like everything I'm making is lower vibrational. I'm causing everything to be a lower vibration, and it's like all these things can get really close to me, which is kind of intense and overwhelming. So when I expand out, I am able to reach the ethers. And this is kind of how like manifestation works. It's like if I am living in a belief system of the universe is protecting me and guiding me, and there's love around me, and I can trust and I have faith and these things, then I am literally creating my whole reality because I am walking around with my energetic field. So then everything around me is my reality. I'm creating my whole reality to vibrate at a higher frequency. Everything I come into contact with starts to vibrate at a higher frequency, and everything is made up of vibrating atoms, okay? So I'm not just causing other people to vibrate at a higher frequency around me. I am literally causing everything to vibrate at a higher frequency. And I am also literally attracting high vibrational things, okay? So it's literally a believe it to achieve it. It's like if I believe that the world is this blissful, amazing, incredible place that is guiding me and supporting me and loves me, I am literally vibrating at a higher frequency. I am causing everything around me to then become in that state of love, that state of higher vibrational. I am then calling in that love because my aura is expanding and expanding out and reaching out to get it. And so literally it's like attracts like, okay? If I'm trying to call in abundance and I'm like, the universe loves me and I am so abundant, so guided and so protected, and I'm taking actions towards allowing the universe to give me the things that I'm wanting, then I'm literally attracting that. I'm calling that in based on how I'm having my atoms vibrate. And that's all manifesting through my beliefs, okay? And so now to go back to the belief part of this, like this is really, really important. Again, we can't like force our emotions. We can't force ourselves to not be sad and just be happy. And we shouldn't do that, okay? Like sadness is so meant to be. Have you ever noticed that like after you cry, like you feel relief? If you are in touch with your crying, or after you allow an emotion, it's like you find the path that you're meant to go on and things open and expand for you, okay? So there's two steps to this. One, when we're experiencing a lower vibrational frequency, we're not forcing ourselves away from it. We're not shoving it down, pushing it away, or ignoring it. It's actually super, super, super important to create a space, create a time to lay in your bed by yourself, with your partner, with a healer, anybody, to allow that emotion to be, to allow it to experience it, to let yourself cry, to let yourself punch the pillow if you're angry. Anything you need, give it space, allow it to breathe, because once you allow it to breathe, it'll move, and you'll actually notice that it'll naturally dissipate. The goal shouldn't be to get rid of it. When you actually give it space and acceptance to be, it will naturally dissipate, okay? And some emotions are heavier, like grief, like they keep coming up and keep coming up, and that's not a bad thing, okay? We want to continue to allow it, even though it hurts, and we can ask for help and assistance from others. We're meant to connect with each other. That's why we're all here together, and so you're not alone in that. So that's one big part of it. And then when we allow those things to move through us, then we're creating space for us to raise our vibrational frequency naturally. The other big part of it, so I really hope you've hung out towards this, because this is how we really do it, right? That was more explaining the science of it, so that you can believe me that this is actually true and happening. And I hope that I'm a living reflection of creating my own reality, okay? And through these steps. But the way that we do that is through our beliefs. And I am not kidding you when I am telling you that you are the creator of your beliefs, okay? What happens in life is that we grow up being told things by our parents, friends, society, and then we just believe that to be true. But we actually have a choice of what we want our beliefs to be, okay? If I believe that the universe is against me in all of these things, or I believe that I am not working hard enough, even though maybe I'm literally working as hard as possible. If I believe that I'm not worthy of money, all of these things, which could have been beliefs that were given to me as a child, maybe a bully, things like this, if I took those on and believed them, and again, that like protector voice that I was talking about before, where there's like maybe a wounded part and then the protector is like yelling at us, being like, you're not worthy, because what it really wants is like, maybe the wounded part was like us wanting love when we were a child, and maybe we didn't feel like we received the love that we craved. And so there's two voices, right? There's the wound that is just like this sad child who wants love. And then there's this protector voice that's like trying to protect the wound, trying to get the love, trying to understand why we didn't have the love. And so it almost starts to yell at us on the inside. And so these create beliefs in us. And so if I'm believing that like I am not worthy of abundance and finances, and I'm not working hard enough, and I'm going to be broke forever, and I'm broke, and I just keep believing I'm broke, then I'm literally creating my frequency to vibrate lower at this denseness. And therefore, everything I come in contact with, that's what I am not only creating it to vibrate at that frequency, but I'm also attracting that. So I'm just constantly attracting this in my life and can't get out of it. It's this loop. But again, we are in control of our beliefs, which sounds crazy, but I believe it's so true. A great tool to use to help you change your beliefs is through affirmations. Through affirmations and through becoming aware of my beliefs. What is going on in my life that I want to evolve or change? And I totally believe that we're all perfect in this moment, but if I'm struggling financially and I have no money, there's nothing wrong with me wanting more abundance and finances in my life, okay? And so say I'm stuck in this loop and I'm wanting this change to happen. I want to call in more abundance. Well, then I'm going to be like, okay, this is what I want. So what are my beliefs around money right now? What are my beliefs around my worthiness of money? Like, start to ask ourselves questions of what is a belief. And then we'll probably shock ourselves with what our beliefs actually are and how harsh they actually are towards ourselves. We tend to be really hard on ourselves, like way harder than we'd be on anybody else. And become aware of those beliefs. And then decide, what would you love in your most ideal world for your beliefs to be? The more high frequency they are, the more you're calling it in, the easier it is to call in, right? But make your belief whatever you want to be. This is your life. You have free will. This is the beautiful part of you getting to exist in your reality. So decide what you want your beliefs to be. And then I think affirmations is an incredibly powerful tool to change our beliefs. Because at first when we start to say my affirmation for this specific topic is, I am worthy of all the abundance in the universe. Like, I'm going big, okay? So when I start to say that affirmation to myself, and I need to make it a regular practice to really change that belief, I am at first feeling really uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, this is cringy. Like, but I'm not. But like, because this old belief in my mind is telling me I'm not. And this is hard. This is weird. This is uncomfortable. Am I lying to myself? All of these doubts and emotions come up, right? But if you keep doing it with practice and repetition, eventually this absolutely beautiful, incredible thing happens, that you start to naturally believe that about yourself. And you are literally raising your vibrational frequency to vibrate faster, to expand out. And then everything you come into contact with is going to start to vibrate at that frequency, and you're going to start to attract that, and you are literally going to change your reality. Okay, this is the concept of the law of attraction. This is the concept of Hermetic principles, the principle of mentalism, manifestation, all of these things. Okay, this is the science behind it. This is the practical application of it. Figure out what your belief is that is disturbing you, or that you want to change, or what do you want to change? Okay, what do you believe about that? Decide what your most ideal, highest self would want to believe about that. Make yourself affirmations, put them on your freaking mirror, okay? Say them to yourself every single day until you fully believe them, and literally watch your reality change. And this can be done with everything in your entire freaking life, okay? And therefore, we are literally the creators of our reality. Our beliefs are literally creating our lives. And that might be hard to believe because we're like, maybe we have there's so many dense things, so many large things that are in our reality. And so we're like, how did I create all this? But we do, okay? And again, the more we believe it, the more it works. And so if we believe, the more that we test this theory out, the more we will believe that it works, and then the more and more. And so it's not just about an affirmation about saying something. It's like embodying it. Feel what it would feel like to believe that until you do. And I'm really excited for you all. I hope this helps. I hope your realities just expand, and beautiful creations of everything you're absolutely worth and so much more. Please let me know if you have questions, subscribe, like, all the good things if you liked this video, and I send you lots and lots of love.